Good morning, Yasha Allah. 12 tribes scattered abroad in all the diaspora. In the name of the Most High Yahweh and Bahasham, our King, our Malak, Yahweh Shai, Yahusha, and the Blessed Ruach, we come to bring you a word. And this word we bring into you, Yasha Allah, is a word of response to the fact that we have conducted an online prayer session. Let me call it intercession. A prayer session of intercessory prayer on behalf of Levi. Because it has been noticed that Levi had no part in seeking our deliverance from the 400 years of enslavement. I shared it with the family, I think on a number of occasions. I don't know if you got the word yet. I don't know if you think that word could be a true word from the Most High. That Levi had no participation except the determination to hold us down in the slavery with Esau and Satan. That was his part in the 400 years enslavement. As mandated by the blood oath covenant taken in the Napoleonic wars for independence, so-called. And I shared it with you on a number of occasions. I can't say that you have got the word yet, but I did put it out there for your perusal. The end of the matter is that Esau signed on to the anti-messiahship that is ahead of us. And Levi, that is, took the anti-messiahship responsibility unto himself. And so Levi was the precursor, the leader in the 400 years enslavement. Esau took credit for it as being the political head of state. And he took the heat for leadership in the 400 years enslavement, but it was Levi's work. He is the one who put the house of Judah in slavery. Hence, when the time came for the ending of the slavery, 400 years, a few months ago, I think, Levi was not present in the fight for our enslavement, nor did he come in at any time, except that he was a provider of hindrance and brutality to the tribes to keep them enslaved. That's his position in the 400 years enslavement of the house. And so I shared it with you before. I'm bringing it back again to let you know that because of Levi's actions towards the Most High and us, I thought it was a compelling motivation for us to seek by prayer and fasting on the behalf of Levi, with the hopes that the Most High would grant him repentance. And I come to report to you today, according to my vision, that Levi is unrepentant, have no care for it, but is contented with his will to destroy us, the house of Judah. That's his mission, along with Edom and Satan. And so I believe it is fitting now that we end our quest for the reclaim of Levi into the house, into the family. And we kick him out according to his own claim that he took responsibility for under Napoleon. He took the anti-messiahship that is coming. And therefore, it's time that we honor our pledge of having made intercession to the Most High on behalf of Levi for his redemption. But he has said no to the proposal, and therefore the Ruach has also ended our intercession on the behalf of Levi. We kick him to the curve where he wants to be as the anti-Messiah, because he wants to rule the world, and therefore we bow out to his wish. That's his wish. We let him have that. We only have to seek the Most High for our deliverance, that we don't become victims of his hate and vicious rebellion against the Most High and against us. I have seen that though we have shared this word with you, I think over the space of a year, approximately, I mean, a concentrated effort we have gone into by the direction of the Ruach to learn of the French Revolution and the workings of Satan in the French Revolution, to capture Levi, the fallen priesthood of the Most High, capture him and set him in the seat of the anti-messiahship, which he agreed to. You know, he's trying to make claims of monies, payments for the war, but he handed himself over to his boss, Satan. And thus he's in the position he's in. His free labor, like we work for the Most High. We're not, putting any charges to the Most High for the labor we give to him, because the Mashiach is our boss. He has payment for us. So I guess Levi is forced to follow a similar routine. He will be the anti-Messiah, having destroyed millions in the diaspora and across the Caribbean and America. Levi destroyed millions. Your brothers and sisters have been sleeping on Levi. The trail of tears, death, and destruction at the hands of Levi is enormous. But my point is, the Ruach has brought us to the end of interceding for him, for his recovery, because he has no desire to recover himself from his rebellion. And so, not to prolong the ceremony, maybe I could say a few words on behalf of the Mishpachah. Those of you who stood with me, to intercede on behalf of Levi, I appreciate you all, brothers and sisters, boys and girls. Appreciate your prayers and your assistance. But you are now set free from that requirement of interceding on behalf of Levi. He's a reprobate. We let him go to his place, like Yehuda, who betrayed the Mashiach. We let him go to his place. Let him have his Mashiach, his anti-Mashiach, and let him have rulership according to Satan. So offer a word of prayer then on behalf of the family. Abanawa, we come to you in the presence of Warawak. And in the name of Mashiach, we present ourselves as dear children of yours. We give you thanks for touching our hearts to have a time of intercession on behalf of Levi, our brother, who has demonstrated rebellion of the highest order against you and against the house of Judah. And so for all his hate and all the damages he has done to the family, you know it. So we ask you to look upon it and place your penalty to him. Let it be a hot penalty of an hour, hot against Levi and his boss, Esau and Satan. And we come now to thank you for the time that you taught us about intercession. And you taught us, made us to understand the depths of the submittal unto the reception of the anti-Messiah seat that was hidden from us. You made it plain. We thank you for that. So we come now in a moment of prayer to have you release us from that intercession and set us free to concentrate on, the family that is remaining and having to battle with the issues facing us right now. Pray you bless them. Bless Yashala and all the diaspora, brothers and sisters, boys and girls. Strengthen, confirm, empower, fill with your Ruach, to the praise of your name and the honor of Mashiach and the set apart Ruach. So let it be. Thank you. All right, Yashala. We had a serious work to carry out. And as I said before, I appreciate you, brothers, for sharing in the labor, for your patience and endurance. I understand that there are some, perhaps many, who have not accepted what the revelation of the blood oath covenant and the French Revolution has delivered to us, that it is indeed Levi who chose freely the anti-messiahship and not Edom. Edom had it from the time of the offering of the birthright. He was the anti-messiah all by himself. But Levi pleaded with him to have a part in it in the French Revolution, and he got it. There's nothing we can do about it now. We leave it all up to Abba and seek salvation by the blood of Mashiach and the infilling of the Ruach. So those of you who still want to call Edom the anti-Messiah according to the seat of authority in that position, or for that accomplishment, for that program, it's up to you. But the true believers, the Mashiach says, my sheep hear my voice and they follow me. So you, the sheep of the Mashiach, let's go together and recognize our chief enemies, Satan, Levi, Esau. And so let us apply our hearts unto wisdom. Study the word, Yasha Allah, study and receive the image of Mashiach. Shaka. All right, I desire to share with you a short word here from the book of Matthew, chapter 25. And I think you know the passage quite well. It's called Parable of the 10 Virgins. And I think it is interesting to note that when the Most High started out with the offering of the plan of salvation, when Yasha'Allah accepted the call to participate in the plan of salvation, there was a huge, I may use the word gathering, a whole lot of brothers and sisters flocking to the teaching and, claiming brotherhood and sisterhood and allegiance to the Most High and to the Mashiach and the Ruach. Oh yeah, there was, a lot of excitement, and many people were accepting of the call and the requirements for entrance and citizenship in the kingdom. I suppose one of the problem, maybe the main problem we had or have had with this matter of the offer of salvation is the fact that the requirement for entrance into the kingdom, though you be a citizen by birth, the requirement for absolute entry into the kingdom is put by the reception of the Mashiach, HaMashiach, who has been granted the awesome task of redemption of the lost sheep. And in the redemption reclaim, stipulations were set forth by a covenant that was already known to Yasha'Allah, but because it had been broken by our first father and mother, our first mother and father, there had to be some renovations to the kingdom order, not in terms of the Torah itself, but in terms of the reliability of the citizens, those who wanted claim to true citizenship. A requirement was laid upon them that they should fulfill that requirement and therefore have an abundant entrance, as the book of Keppel tells us, abundant entrance into the kingdom. Everything was dependent upon HaMashiach, the beautiful one, the one altogether lovely, the Rose of Sharon, Yikantobo Shire, the solid rock. It was dependent upon him. He had to pay the price, the ultimate sacrifice for the nation, to have the privilege offered by the Most High Yahweh himself. And so we look at the parable of the 10 virgins in Matthew, it says that 5 of those virgins were wise and 5 were fools. Matthew 25, it reads from the beginning, "Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins. Now, you know, brothers don't mind having a virgin. And, you know, we like the idea of 10, 10 virgins. But of course, that's not the foundational basis that the kingdom is built upon, 10 virgins, no. But in any case, brothers would appreciate, some brothers, you know, would appreciate the 10 virgins. Anyhow, in all seriousness, then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps, went forth to meet the bridegroom. We put this parable to the test of the offer that the Most High made to Abraham: of your seed, I raise up a mighty nation. This is the covenant made with Abraham. Albeit we've had some interference from some outsider who, though being a son, is not the heir of the promise. We're speaking of Esau. He was a son, but not heir of the promise. But he has violently pushed and striven to have himself named as the heir apparent to the throne of the kingdom. And so in the parable here, the 10 virgins, one of the very most important thing to me is the fact that when this proclamation of birthright or inheritance was made unto Abraham, there were many who laid claim to the promise or the promises. And so you can imagine that such an offer of kingdom citizenship and rulership over the kingdom, you know, we have ambitious people amongst us in Yasha Allah. All over the world, we have ambitious people who like, you know, authoritative positions. So we find the Mashiach in Luke chapter 23, I believe it is, expressing to the apostles that he came, he was sent to bring them a kingdom. The same kingdom that we're talking about, that these 10 virgins were having their eyes on. And so 10 virgins started out, and we liken this to the total number of Yasha Allah from the time of the call being made to Abraham and all the developments of the family history and the development of the protocol that would align with the authority to grant the position of heir to Abraham, let's say then, and to his seed. And we find along the way, as the concerns or the principles of inheritance to the heir or heirs of the kingdom, and we find them, like up and down and their conduct with regards to what was needed, the requirements needed to be met that would allow them to have the kingdom conferred upon them. And the principle that they were needing to comply with was the Torah. As we trace the story of this birthright matter, of course, we remember Esau had the privilege to, have to receive the birthright and administer the birthright, the principles. He had the privilege to administer the principles that would grant him legal claim to the kingdom. But we have found that Esau bypassed those principles and those orders, and yet have stood by with the help of Satan to lay claim to the birthright. He did nothing, absolutely nothing that would have him viewed as one worthy of receiving the birthright. He done nothing from the time the promise was made to Abraham, 4,000 years ago, maybe, somewhere in that area of time. Done nothing but death, theft, thievery, and destruction. That's Esau's claim to ownership of the kingdom: death, theft, and destruction. It's a hefty accomplishment, but there ain't no life in it, as far as I see. However, Yasha'Allah, through the Mashiach, born in the cradle of the 12 tribes, became the real inheritor, the claimant to the kingdom. And he had 12 companions with him to assist him with, taking ownership of the covenant and the privileges thereof. Along the way, as we have seen already, without opening our books, our scriptures, we can already envision Yasha'Allah mumbling in the wilderness against Moshe, mumbling against Yehoshua, mumbling against the other leaders, and refusing to obey a number of times. Finally coming into the land of Canaan, that was the physical representation of the inheritance. They got set to take over the reins of the kingdom, and in the course of their administration of the kingdom, we see the many ups and downs that Yasha'Allah had endured. And I think it has caused us to be very appreciative of the work of the prophets and apostles. These were of the 12 that was born in the cradle with the Mashiach to assist him in obtaining the birthright promise and blessings. That's who they are. But again, Time played a factor, and this matter of rebellion, because of the infusion of the one that conquered our first parents, first with the woman, our first mother, and Adam. So they let go the kingdom. Therefore, you had to have Mashiach coming to reclaim. And it is in the reclaiming of the kingdom that we have the hitch. Where Edom, who had the privilege, he likes to talk about privilege. He had the privilege, of course, to be the inheritor and leader, owner of the kingdom. But he refused and took a side job with Satan. Oh, Father. And has since been destroying the whole earth because he intends or intended to change the mind of the Most High himself. Imagine a little puny creature wants to change the Torah of the Most High, who owns everything. You can stop his finger and your breath is gone. Whatever you think about yourself, whatever your achievement, this proverbial snap of his finger and you're gone. You got no more time to argue and present claims of what you want done and what you want to own or what you think you own. It's gone. But we see the arrogance of Gabriel, Satan, and Esau that followed him. And now we look again with regret at what has happened to the 12 tribes. We see the many falterings they made as a tribal inheritance. Somehow I get the feeling that the majority of our brothers and sisters from the cradle of love did not really understand who they were and what privilege they actually had to be the companions of the Mashiach in the cradle with him. But today, having come this far, we see the elimination process conducted by the Most High, who set it up in the beginning to see who would be worthy to have entrance into the kingdom. The kingdom won for them by the love of the Most High and Mashiach through the blessed Ruach. This has been the I guess we could say, use Shakespeare's word. This is where the rub has been. Keeping the Torah, having a heart of willingness to keep the Torah. That was the requirement for having entrance into the kingdom. And so, I mean, if we put that claim against Esau's actions, who himself was laying claim to the kingdom, and today still has a rhetoric going on of claim to the kingdom. After all the destruction he has done in the whole earth. I'm talking about cold, unadulterated destruction that is foreign to the kingdom order. They shall not hurt or destroy in all my set apart mountain, says Yahweh. But look at Esau. Destruction everywhere. No, non-stop. And right now, he is anxious to continue. But we have going on at this hour, as we are in the ceiling, we have the Mashiach in charge of checking the numbers, How many has he really saved out of the cradle of his love? How many has he saved? Right this day, as I have been privileged in the Ruach to set forth the principles of who the anti-Messiah is, many still brush it aside and try to say that is Esau, when it's a Levi, a so-called Israelite or Yashrelite. That's who he is. But we try to give it to Esau. And we are adamant about it. Even though the principles that the Ruach has brought forth to show us plainly, all the ins and outs, show us Levi is the one. He's the culprit and the one coming forth. But if they must have it as they wish, what can we do? 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. And so they that be wise will shine as the sun, and they will follow the Mashiach wherever he goes, and will not follow another. Therefore, my encouragement to you, Yasha Allah, as we have been moving along together. See, those who want to have claim to the covenant, that's as far as they can get, making a claim. They could never have ownership because it's in the hands of the Most High. So, they could, whatever they want to do, cry, fuss, destroy, throw some bombs down and destroy the place as much as they wish. I mean, as much as the Most High allows. They can do all of that. Can't get it because it's in the hands of the Most High. What did Mashiach say? My Father is greater than all, and none can pluck out of his hand, nor can they pluck out of my hand. So what's Edom going to do? Create some more bombs? From a peaceful situation to bombs and wars and rumors of wars. But we are in the sealing time, Yasha Allah. And what is going on now is our in-fight with Satan and the demons that have infiltrated our first parents and so have had access to us. And pardon the expression, they are fighting like hell to have control of us, to be able to control our bodies, to make us fight against the Torah, that the Most High could, send us into a next round of slavery and allow Edom to have control of the kingdom again. That's Satan's plan. He wants us to rage against the Torah. So the Most High could say, well, they need some more beating, they need some more chastisement. That's the plan. So I'm praying for you, brethren, together with myself, that we remain steadfast, unshakable, always abounding in the work of the Most High and the Mashiach. Our numbers have dwindled, as you can see, from millions, maybe billions. We have dwindled to but a few. According to the parable, 5. Yasha Allah, we counsel you to take a good look at your position and your possession. The Mashiach says in the book of Revelation, hold fast what you got. Let no one take your crown. Not even Esau, not even Satan. Let no one take your crown. In the name of the Most High, Yahweh, Mashiach, and the Ruach. So let it be.